Hello everyone and welcome back to the cryptocurrencies course, the section Meet the Bitcoin. So already saw a live example about the pub example of how we understood how the Bitcoin works, and then we looked at the workflow of the Bitcoin. In this third video, we will look at the salient features that distinguishes Bitcoins from other mediums of exchange used in the past and what makes it so revolutionary. The first feature is that it's a digital currency. So it's again just digital values being moved from one digital device to another digital device, whether it's a laptop, a phone. It's essentially an account that can be opened anywhere. It's like an email. So there's no need of actual physical hard currency anymore. It's just a data point, your bank balance, or the amount of money you have. However, it's important to understand that they still operate like any currency out there. They still are traded in the international markets and they have a value denominated in terms of every currency. So you do get a spot exchange rate. You will get an exchange rate in terms of the US dollar. For example, it's around $1,000, or the same value you can denominate in rupees, saying it's around 67,000 rupees. And usually there is very little arbitrage in the forex markets when it comes to Bitcoin. There is a little bit that I've noticed personally, but any kind of transaction charges are going to eliminate that. The second feature, and this is probably the most revolutionary feature and the most important one of the lot, is that it doesn't have an intermediary. Now this is where even me as an economist, I found it really hard to grasp this concept, because as an economist you're taught that there is always a central bank or central intermediary controlling the flow of money. And this sounded very counterintuitive to me when I heard that there's a money system that has no central governing authority. So as revolutionary as this sounds, the whole process of the technology that is governing the Bitcoin is kind of the intermediary. So you don't have a physical human intermediary in place. Now, why is this so revolutionary and why does this change a lot of things? We will look into another course where we can go into the whole underlying technology called blockchain and how the concept of not having an intermediary is being used to reduce transaction costs and transaction time across different industries for various purposes. But the whole new era is trying to look at a system where, using technology, we eliminate the requirement for an intermediary, because somewhere middlemen increase the number of processes involved and they increase the cost because they need a cut for their services. So the Bitcoin essentially enables participants to transact between themselves without the need of a central intermediary. Another way of looking at it, if you want, is saying that the technology, the complex technology that governs the Bitcoin is the central intermediary. Look at the way you want it. But there is no bank that controls the Bitcoin. The third and really important part of the Bitcoin is that the records or the blocks that are created, that we saw in the earlier video, they're immutable, which means that they cannot be changed or edited once created. If a transaction has to be reversed, a separate transaction has to be passed in order to do this. Why is this important? It's because if you have a system where previous records can be edited, that increases the chances of fraud and cybersecurity loopholes. So this is one of those features that really guarantees the security of the network. And in a way, it also reduces the need of an intermediary in the first place. And it is cheaper. Now this is pretty easy to understand. Now that we don't have an intermediary and although the process of Bitcoin mining is expensive, as a user in the Bitcoin system, I don't have to pay much because the miners are getting rewarded by fresh new Bitcoins anyway. And because the whole system is governed by technology, you can say that the human capital cost has been significantly lowered. To explain this in a simple way, just compare the cost of a Bitcoin network with their complex computers and mining systems. Compare that to the cost of running an actual investment bank, which offers a remittance system. So of course, the cost of operating Bitcoin network is considerably lower, and this considerably lowers the cost for a user themselves. The next point is deflationary. So as I mentioned right in the beginning of the concept of Bitcoin, that there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoins ever made. Why the number 21 million? Your guess is as good as mine right now. There are different theories around this, but there's no conclusive evidence, as Satoshi Nakamoto never really publicly revealed this logic, or no one really knows him till date. Him or her or it, whatever it is. So why is being deflationary important? It's simple. We do not want a currency that can become the Zimbabwean dollar again. We want to ensure that the value of the currency keeps rising, and the fact that it is divisible to the factor of 8 ensures that you can still transact using these Bitcoins. There is an economic side to this which we will look into in a different video. So the next feature is that it's decentralized and open source. This ensures that having no intermediary, anyone can access these records, and the data is not stored at one particular location at a time. So having an open source ledger that anyone can access, download and keep themselves ensures that no one can just go and hack one particular source and edit that data and commit fraud. At the same time, it ensures that there's a lot more transparency in the system than the existing system. So like we saw in the story of money video, the current existing financial systems have all the data in one centralized location. So as cybersecurity hackers improve their methods, they're comparatively easier to hack, and the fact that they do not allow us to any insight into these ledgers and transactions ensures that there's no transparency. So we do not know whether something has been going on behind our backs which should not be happening. And it ensures that the whole network is a peer-to-peer community with data points, which is money essentially, is being transferred from one user to another user. Now the fact that it's trustless, the fact that you don't, because the technology and the security level is so high and the different features make it virtually impossible to hack. Now why I say virtually is because technically you can hack it. We will look into this in the cryptography method, the hash cryptography video. But the cost of hacking the system are so high that it will erase any monetary benefit you can achieve by hacking the network, which essentially makes it economically unviable to do. So because the system is so secure, you don't need to trust another person in the system. Let's go back to the concept of an intermediary. You need an intermediary because you need a central governing authority that ensures that both the parties keep up to their word. Now this is there because you don't trust the other party. In this system, again, we're replacing intermediary with technology, so you still don't need to trust the other party while participating in the network. And finally, it's a fiat currency. So it only has value because we believe that anyone participating in the network will hold the same value for a Bitcoin. So again, they're not backed by a tangible substance like gold, but they're backed by an intangible one. They hold value simply because participants believe them to hold value. Now, this is okay because in effect, the current currency notes we use are backed by the trust of the government. So you can say that the value of a Bitcoin will increase the more people participate and the more people trust the technology that supports the Bitcoin. So to round up the whole Meet the Bitcoin session, I think for now, I hope that we have all understood how the Bitcoin works, what it is essentially, and the most important features that separate it from the conventional methods of exchange that we have been using so far. This is Agnish Bhaduri. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and in the next video we will understand, the next course, we'll understand the economic side of Bitcoin. This is where I significantly want to invest time because I see very little material out there that does this. So we will address some economic issues related to Bitcoin because it is such a dynamic, new revolutionary method that we need to understand whether this is economically viable in the long run. So I hope you've enjoyed this particular part of this course. See you in the next one. Thank you.